yeah, so I later found out what happened. I had to find out through a rumor, was that he's on the hiring committee, and he said that it was easier to get a federal grant, the postdoc, I shouldn't say it's not a grant. It was easy to get postdoc fellowship in that if you're a woman. He said that in, I think in the process of deciding whether or not to hire someone, and someone else on the executive committee who is a woman took great offense at this. And then the department head, when was this? This was a while ago. No, I think this was before the pandemic. What was the point of the story? Oh yeah, it was about the majority. Sorry, I remember now. Yeah. Yeah. So the so the department head basically said he either had to resign or he was going to kick him off. So the guy ended up resigning. Yeah. So if sort of like slightly sexist things come into like hiring decisions, like it does happen, but I think they're removed from leadership. So in the leadership, it's not the majority because you're not allowed to be on the leadership if you do things like this. Our current department head is a woman. I don't know what her interactions are like, but I would guess maybe people are less likely to say things like, oh, she got it because she's a woman in front of a woman. Yeah, that would take a whole new level of boldness.
I wouldn't do that, but you know.
People do lots of things I don't understand. Yeah, the dean really promotes diversity, and she said, the dean's a man. He said he sort of wanted the math department to have a female department head, at some point, because we never had a female department head. So she, I might have been part of it. Well, yeah, it was tricky. I don't think anyone wanted to be department head just because there's a lot of work. So it's really hard to say how things went, decision process was, but I know the dean wanted us to have a female department head, and we had two applicants, and she's a great mathematician. She has her own Wikipedia page, if that means anything. So she's certainly qualified for the job, and I'm not entirely sure anyone else wanted it anyway.
What do you think your department's culture will be like after this pandemic?
Oh, gee, gosh. Yeah, we had a meeting where with the assistant professors where we're talking about like the tenure track extension. And this is one of the tenure track professors, which is like, oh, it's not as bad in math as it is in chemistry because they can't go to the labs, which is like not at all relevant to what's going on in our lives, right? Like it's just like, oh, it's not as bad as some other people. We shouldn't complain. And then later in another like assistant professor meeting, we started talking about getting just like, can we talk about this later? Yes. This guy's an a-hole. Like, I don't like him. Anyway, so he ended up getting career award. Have you heard of the career award? Have you heard of the career award?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah, it's a really prestigious, really prestigious actually grant for tenure track faculty. So this guy ended up getting it. So presumably that like improves his like influence in the department. Yeah, so I don't know. There's probably going to be some culture about like people. Yeah, I'm not sure how like the tenure track extension is going to look. I hope I'm not the only one taking it. Yeah, there's probably going to be a bunch of people saying like, oh, the pandemic wasn't that bad. You should have gotten over it or something. So I anticipate it being worse. I hope I'm wrong, but
I'm still digesting all the things you've said about your department culture.
Yeah, I said a lot. I said a lot at once. It's pretty complex.
I don't know any other departments outside my own, so it's been very interesting hearing different people talk about their departments differently. They seem to be all over the board.
Yeah, well, most of every math department is male, which I think you get some like toxic masculinity creeping in.
So this next set of questions have to deal with emotional and invisible labor.
Mm-hmm.
Emotional labor is described as the emotional energy and psychological stress that you might experience while regulating and managing emotions that arise at work. Since our last interview, can you provide any examples of how your own emotional labor load has either increased or decreased during the pandemic?
Sorry, can you define emotional work again?
So emotional labor is described as the emotional energy and psychological stress that you might experience while regulating and managing emotions that arise at work.
Yeah, my psychological stress is like pretty much through the roof. Especially after I found out I didn't get the Lex grant.
Did that really decrease your motivation to work?
Yeah, so I found out about this new funding opportunity that the NSF announced. And the deadline's in a month, which is like really short amount of time. And it's this brand new grant that they just put out. So there are no previous applications to look at. No one's ever gotten it before or applied before. It's a huge question mark. So it's hard for me to like work on math when like the grant's hanging over my head. So I'd say like my motivation shifted to something else that I just enjoy less.
Well, related to emotional labor, invisible labor is described as important work that might take up a lot of your time, yet is typically uncompensated and unrecognized. And this typically refers to service work that goes above and beyond what is normally expected for a position. Since our last interview, do you feel like your own invisible labor load has increased or decreased because of the pandemic?
Like invisible work I do like at the workplace, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'd say having an excuse not to get lunch with people I don't like is less work. Because there's invisible work before having to put up with like old white guys talking about whatever BS is on their minds. Yeah, so I guess in that sense, the pandemic has helped me avoid people I don't like. I guess when the pandemic ends, I'm gonna have to go back to having lunch with these people again.
That's actually not that specific, but something very similar is listed as one of the examples in my interview guide of things people want to keep after the pandemic. Avoiding people in the hallways, things like that.
Yeah, I do want to avoid lunches with some of these people, but I don't think I will because I'm sure I've expected to get lunch with people again.
This is another lengthy question, so bear with me.
Okay.
In the past year, there have been a number of studies that have suggested that COVID-19 is impacting scholars of color in unique ways, between the emotional challenges of seeing news stories about police brutality and hate crimes, to the challenges of navigating discussions about anti-Black and anti-Asian racism on campus.